Death is the inevitable guest at every dinner party. It is the only truth we all know, and the thing that carries weight in our souls as we navigate this mortal plane. For as long as humans have lived, they have died, and the traditions of saying goodbye have always been powerful displays of pure human emotion. Some are celebrations of a life looked back on with joy and dancing, while others are solemn affairs veiled in black silence. Today we are looking across time and culture to determine what it is we are all holding on to, and how we differ in our mourning. From megalithic group burials to sleeping bodies, humans cherish the ones they've lost. Welcome to Who Are You? Curious Stories of Family Lore. I'm Weeksy.
And I'm Sam Ivy. And welcome, fam.
Welcome to an episode all about death. And by now, if you have been listening right along with us, you know that almost every time we say the episode number with confidence, we are wrong.
Yeah.
Every time we're like, yeah, this is definitely 42. It's not 42. It's 41. Last week was 42, and now we are on 43. So this is episode 43, because we celebrated episode 40 with a bonus episode, and that messed us up. We just could not count one more than we were expecting. So this is episode 43, and I know that because I have Spotify open right here, which I know we keep mentioning too before we jump into this episode, which will be mostly led by Sam, but we are working on some Patreon stuff, and we wanted to give just a little bit more information on what is going to be on there, and we're not sure how long it's going to take. We've never ran a Patreon, but I think it's really important. I want to just say that Patreon has made it really clear that they do not want, they're not going to have AI scalping our stuff. They're not going to have our stuff training AI. Every time we post an episode to Spotify or YouTube, or I think Apple Podcasts, this is on as well. There's a few other platforms that this is on because we have an RSS feed distributor. And I don't know. We want to stay as far away from AI as we can. I mean, the environmental impact alone on AI, like AI data centers, is indisputable. So don't talk to me about it.
Yeah.
It is indisputable at this point. And if you want to use ChatGPT and you want to not use your critical thinking brain to answer basic questions or to write scripts for you, whatever it is, you can. But what I want to make really clear is everything that we do, we write it, we research it. The script and the intro, we write together. We sit here, we figure out.
I physically literally have sheets of paper every time I tell my stories that are just handwritten notes from physical research I've been doing.
Yes. And why am I saying this and talking about Patreon? Because we also, on top of doing all of this for the podcast, we also make the art for the podcast, the posts and everything. That takes time, and we have families and everything, and we want to be able to keep doing this. But in order to do that, the Patreon is going to help us keep our art secure, but then we can post these videos. So instead of just hearing our voices, if you want to see the video where we're just sitting here, I'm in my back room with yellow walls right now, we're going to start making sets and make the videos cool, and then boom, you're going to get unedited. We're not editing them at all.
No,
you're going to get the whole thing.
Raw and unfiltered.
Yeah, whatever we say, I cut and edit the audio that gets put on Spotify, but I won't do that. You'll get the complete raw videos. Moral of the story is you're going to get a lot more. We also make a lot of art on the side, so you'll get process videos of the art that we're making. I'm going to be telling scary stories while I'm making the art, so whatever we're doing, whether it's drawing, whether it's painting, whether it's bronze casting, whether it's ceramics, stained glass,
whatever we're feeling.
Whatever it is. And then you'll also get, like, first dibs on the art that we make. So you'll see a process video, you'll see the finished piece, and then you'll get a link to where it's secretly posted just for you to buy. And you'll get 50% off.
I was going to say, maybe a little discount, too.
Yeah. 50% off at first. You know, I think 50% is a pretty good discount for somebody who's going to pay to see our content. So if it's like a really expensive piece, maybe not 50% off, but we want to give you some discounts for being a Patreon. And
the family discount.
Yeah, the family discount. I like that. So, really, yeah, there'll be extra episodes. We haven't really figured out how many extra, whether it'll be like one extra episode a month. And if we're going to do a tier system, we have no idea. We just have to figure out. Yeah. Yeah. We have to figure out exactly what we can provide, but no matter what, there'll be some sort of bonus episode. There'll be video content, and there'll be first dibs access to art that gets sold. We have not been posting our art. We have not been having sales because social media, Instagram, Facebook, I believe even TikTok, everything can just use your work and the things that you upload to train their AI. So there's a lot of stuff I want to post and sell, and that's going to go through the Patreon first. So if you're somebody who wants my art, that would be a good place to start, is the Patreon. Probably in about a month. I would say we need a month to get everything together. But, all right, that's it. It's all about the Patreon. I think that's all.
Okay.
The business.
I mean, you know, we'll keep the family updated if anything changes.
Yeah. But today we're talking about death. We're talking about...
It's really, like, super morbid, I would say. Because, like, we've talked about, like, more, like, darker things. I feel like this is a more informative episode because, like, I definitely learned a lot from my research.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like a step back that relates to what you just went through with your grandmother, your great-grandmother dying, and then being with your family and being immersed in those traditions of death.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll talk about it, but that's really what spurred this episode. And so we kind of were just, like, feeling heavy. I think all around just heavy, and
yeah,
the way that we wanted to deal with that was to see how other cultures deal with their heaviness. You know? So that's kind of where we're at. So we're gonna jump into that. Sam's gonna take the lead, and she'll start, and then I have a couple crazy current events, if you will, that have to do with burials towards the end.
All right, bet. Yeah, so like Weetzy was saying, it all kind of, this episode stemmed from what I just went through about a week ago, with my great-grandmother passing and, you know, going through, like, the funeral process. Granted, it wasn't my first rodeo. It's definitely not my first funeral. However, it was the first time that I was ever asked to be the pallbearer, one of the pallbearers, and had to do that task, which was a very big honor for me, not gonna lie, because most of the time, like, you don't see women do that. It's most of the time traditionally men.
Yeah, because the casket is heavy, and, you know, that it is traditionally, it's very cool.
My family made so much fun of me, like, when they're like, oh, you're gonna do it? You sure you're not gonna drop her? Like, you know, things of that nature, just joking around. It's like, oh, I got this.
Yeah, you're stronger than you look.
Exactly. But, you know.
Not that you don't look strong.
I'm tiny, but mighty.
Like, that's right, yeah.
But, like, it's not my first, like, funeral, like I was saying. But it's the first time that I actually sat back and, like, was watching all of, like, the steps and the procedures and, you know, when you gotta stand up and where you gotta, you know, walk and which ways you have to walk and when you have to, you know, cover the casket, when you have to do this or when you have to do that. And me being baptized Catholic, and, you know, I found out I am the only sibling out of my brothers and sisters that was baptized. Not for any particular reason other than, you know, that was kind of the thing you did back in the 90s. So, like, once my other siblings were born in 2000, like, that kind of thing was kind of dulled down. It wasn't as big on the hype train. But either way, I'm still baptized Catholic. I don't necessarily celebrate or, you know, go to church or do, like, the Catholic things, but I am baptized. So that being said, it made me kind of want to...
Do you know what I'm baptized as? I don't even know if I want to say.
I have no idea.
We're going to do a giveaway. You guess what religion I'm baptized in, and you'll win a piece of art made specifically, for you. It'll be a custom piece for you. If you can guess.
I think I know.
Yeah.
But...
We'll just send us a message. Send us a message on Instagram or on YouTube. Take a guess. Win smart.
But yeah, so I've never like looked into Catholic traditions. So like I said, I've never been super religious. No one in my family like really like made it a thing where you had to go to church or that you had to, why we say a prayer before we eat or, like little things like that. Like, so it made me kind of look into the traditional Catholic funerals and like what things meant. And I can say after like reading this information, like, and thinking back to the funeral I just experienced, like, it kind of gives it a deeper meaning to me for sure. And, like, it gives it more symbolism to being like, oh, so this is why these prayers are being said, or this is why this song is being done, or this is why we do these in this order. So that being said.
Okay. Everything is symbolic.
Yes. So that being said. Traditional Catholic funeral. Traditionally, it's held at a Catholic church, but it can also be held at a funeral home sometimes, depending on the situation. The service tends to be led by a Catholic priest who delivers a sermon, including snippets from the deceased time on earth. So, that beginning when the priest comes out and, is like, oh, Gladys was a wonderful woman, and she loved to go outside. Like, when they're giving like little like tidbits and including their life into like some prayers into that too. That's their initial sermon. Then the Catholic service tends to have a funeral mass, and the mass symbolizes the resurrection of Christ, which I didn't know that.
I knew that because we're not Catholic, but we would go to midnight mass, and I remember the person who was speaking. I forget the name. Like Pope? Not a Pope. That was not the Pope. Thank you. I did not go to see the Pope ever. Priest was kind of going over the symbolism, and I was zoning out, but when they said that they brought up the resurrection, I just couldn't get a zombie Jesus out of my head. I was 10.
That's fair.
And it was midnight.
Like, yeah, it's an extra creep factor to it.
It was so fucking badass, though.
But yeah,
candles. I don't know if you're going to talk about the symbolism of candles, but there were candles everywhere.
Well, see, it doesn't talk about, like, for the funeral purpose of that, because, like, I know traditionally when it comes to the candles, like, my grandma, she used to take me to our Catholic church when she... when it was somebody's death day or birthday or something, and you're supposed to light a candle for, like, your fellow, like, loved one. And, like, I don't know, at least that's what she told me. I don't know, I didn't look it up, but that's what I always interpreted those candles.
Yeah, and I think, like, the flame represents the soul and keeping the flame lit. It's a universal. Like, remember back in the festival episode, you mentioned there was, like, that area where you could go and light a candle.
Yeah.
Typically white candles for purity, purifying the soul in the after.
Yeah. Also, with Catholic funerals, too, they typically try to make sure they have music throughout the whole service, which I thought was kind of cool. And honestly, they do. Like, from start to finish, you have some sort of song, prayer, chant, getting, told throughout, and there's a variety of them.
And is there, like, are there specific songs for certain times?
So... when it came to Duff, for example, we actually had, like, a whole booklet that me and my aunt sat through, and we looked up each song, and, like, we got to read, and you had to choose, like, 3 to 5 songs that get performed throughout, the service.
Okay.
Same with, like, passages from the Bible that you want read. But there's technically 9 steps of Mass. So the first step is the introductory rite or the greeting of the priest. So the whole sermon that I was telling you about when he walks out and kind of talks, hey, Duff was a lovely lady, blah, blah, blah. Then step 2 is the procession of the priest, where the coffin and the congregation get led up the aisle. So that's what I was doing when walking Duff. And, Then once we all are seated, that's when the holy water is sprinkled during procession, which he'll take like the bottle of holy water and put it over the casket. Then there's the opening songs and prayers. Then you have a readings from the Bible. So that's when he'll flip to whatever sermons or, passages that you picked as the family. Then you have the Holy Communion or the Mass. So that's when he asks for anybody that wants to come up for Holy Communion. So where they like get like the body of Christ, I think is what it's called, but it's like the little chips that you can eat and you can get like, that.
Yeah.
And then there's more prayers after that. Then step 8 is the coffin taken back down the aisle and out of the church.
So metal. This whole thing is metal as fuck.
Right? And step 9 is prayers said at the gravesite or before the curtains close if it's a cremation, for the rite of communal.
I think there's something really beautiful about sticking to tradition. And okay, so you can pick from these passages because this is what has traditionally been done. We're going to these 9 steps to honor this woman who lived under this umbrella of Catholicism.
Yep,
and we are going to give
huge Catholic,
that's a beautiful way to honor somebody, to follow strictly what they lived so strictly, or however they lived it, but this is her belief, and I think it's just to do that so specifically after somebody dies, it's such a beautiful honor for somebody.
Yeah, so that led me into looking up other traditions that we did. So, you've heard of a wake, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Everybody, the wake is before the funeral. So it's like,
yes, my
mom had a wake, but she didn't have a funeral.
See, so a wake traditionally is held before a Catholic funeral, like you said, is a popular tradition. It can be held for several days before the funeral and usually takes place at night, which I think is weird.
Interesting.
Because
it usually takes place at night?
Yeah, but nowadays you see it's normally from 4 to 8. At least that's where Duff's was. It was 4 o'clock it could show up for the family, but from 5 to 8 was visiting hours for anybody else.
And most calling hours or wakes that I have been to are they start at noon.
Yeah, see, and it says here too those wakes, Duff's was the day before the funeral, but wakes can last for multiple days to only a few hours, depending on the situation or the family's wishes.
Oh, yeah. In our research, and I'm sure you've found them too, that there are some traditions where the wake type situation lasts for much longer.
Oh, yeah. But last little Catholic fun fact that I have, that this one kind of intrigued me that I did not know. Have you heard of the mercy meal?
No, but that just gave me elbow goosebumps for some reason.
See, so many Catholic families gather after a burial for a meal known as the mercy meal or the repast. It's a chance for the community to come together, share stories, and care for the bereaved family.
Oh my god, I love that.
I had no idea that was a Catholic tradition. I just always grew up, I've been losing people since 2011, so anytime, after dealing with, the big, funeral shit, it was always, alright, we're going back to so-and-so's house, we got, food, cookout style, that was just always a thing. So I didn't know that it was a Catholic tradition and it was known as the mercy meal. I thought it was just, it's what we do.
The name mercy meal, people are, showing mercy to the mourners by giving food, something so vital to survive, that,
and just
when you're in
for the family, too.
Yeah. But when you're in the face of loss, you don't think, oh, I need to cook, I need to survive. So the mercy, you're being shown mercy by your community and loved ones coming together to provide that meal, and the company and the stories and the celebration, giving mercy to your soul. Oh my god, that is beautiful.
Yeah, so that's all I had really about the Catholic tradition, but it kind of opened my eyes a little bit to it, because like I said, I'm not really a religious person at all, nor have I, dove deep into religion, just because I like to kind of just be neutral. I have my own beliefs, I believe in my energy and things like that. I don't want to, yuck on anybody's yum. But it did...
Yes. Different strokes for different folks.
But it did open up my eyes and kind of giving me more of like a humble look on it, where I'm like, okay, like, it's not as cult-like as I always think all religion is.
There is beauty in everything, you know, even in corrupt organized systems, there's still beauty because there are still good people who believe in something. And that, at its core, is the universal connector, is that pit that you feel, that faith in whatever it is that you believe in, and the willingness to be a good person to yourself and to others to carry out that faith. That's it. If that means you don't hurt other people and you don't bother other people who aren't hurting other people, but you prevent people from hurting other people in any way that you can.
Yeah.
That's like religion, all sorts in a nutshell, I feel like, and just like whatever your God says, and usually your God should be like a good thing, etc., etc. Should be. I say that because I don't know all religions, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, after diving into that, it kind of made me, well, how do other cultures celebrate, Like, what is their traditions for how they, interpret the life of their loved ones that have passed? So, these aren't, the most in-depth little snippets I got, because at the end of the day...
This is a tasting platter.
Exactly.
This is a tasting platter of tradition, and maybe that's the episode name. Tasting platter of tradition, death in all forms. I don't know.
I like that.
Let me just write that. Shit. Well, I'm gonna edit this, so I'm just gonna write it in my notes because I won't remember. And if the name is something else, you guys, it's because I forgot and I didn't know where this was in our recording. So, anyways.
But yeah, so it just made me kind of, and like I said, it's like you said, a little taster. I am not a master of any of this knowledge. This is all just research that I've done.
I'm so sorry. I forgot.
Tasting platter of tradition.
Thank you. Death in all forms. I'm so sorry to cut you off. If you could repeat that sentence for myself and the listeners.
I'm just not an expert in any of this information that I'm about to share. This is just little tasting of different traditions that I came across that I thought were interesting enough to put on this podcast. And I'm hoping that because it's in a variety and an array of different cultures and different locations, that maybe those that are listening to this podcast can tune in and give us their point of view and let us know if what information we found is accurate, or add to it, or you can tell me, nah, dude, you're fucking bullshit and all this. Let me know.
Or, also, if we don't mention something about your culture or a tradition that you do, we would love to learn about it and talk about it in a future episode. That would be very, very cool, because not only is this a podcast about us learning about where we come from, but we're also learning about the world and our place in it. And so we would love to learn about your traditions as well.
So that being said, I researched and found something called the sky burials, which I thought was very interesting. It is common in Tibet among the Buddhists who believe in the value of sending their loved ones' souls towards heaven. The ritual consists of the bodies being left outside, trigger warning, but often cut into pieces, for birds and other animals to devour. This has a dual purpose of eliminating the now empty vessel of the body and allowing the soul to depart, while also embracing the circle of life and giving substances back to the animals into the world.
Do you know if they do any, do they leave the bones there forever, or do they go back and collect them? Do you know?
I do not know.
Yeah, because I couldn't find it either. Because I looked into this as well, and I was just trying to...
I'm assuming because they said, it embraces the circle of life, it probably gets left there because eventually the bone will disintegrate.
Oh, yeah, embracing the circle of life, yeah.
So I could see it as, that's just their final resting place. But also, if you're cutting the pieces up, then shit's gonna get scattered regardless, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. You're right.
But did you have anything else that you found out on that guide ad? Okay. Now, this next one, I'm probably going to butcher the name, but it's the Famadihana.
That sounds right to me. I mean, I'm not from Madagascar.
Yeah, literally. I was like,
Famadihana. Famadihana?
Yeah, it sounds right. Let me know. Let me know if it's wrong. But basically, it's the dancing with the dead. So it's that, like you were saying, the Madagascar tradition, where the people often the tombs of their dead, like every few years, and then rewrap them in fresh burial cloths. And each time they do this, they also dance near the tombs while music is playing all around. It was said that this ritual translates to the turning of the bones, and it was meant to speed up decomposition and push the spirits of the dead towards the afterlife.
Because it takes many years for them to reach, right? Like, they have to do these multiple ceremonies because every ceremony elevates their soul closer, and you can't go to the other side until you're fully decomposed. Right?
Yep. Oh yeah. I thought that one was really cool, dude. And I like the fact that like the music is also incorporated, me and being the music buff that I am.
Yeah. And the fact that it's a celebration and in a weird way, not weird way, but in a weird foreign way to us, like you're still a part of the celebration even after you die. So there has to be comfort in that. Like knowing also, like when you're close to death, like, oh, they're still gonna be including me even after I die.
I thought about that too when reading it. I was like, how weird and humbling of a thought is it to think that like even after death somebody's still going to be taking care of me. Like, granted, you won't be here, but your body physically will, but like there's still your loved ones are going to care enough about you to take care of you.
Yeah. And something to note about that too, it's a relatively recent thing from the 1600s. It appears to be a combination of ancient traditions of Southeast Asia and Oceania, aka Australia, and New Zealand continent. So it was like different parts of those traditions were adapted around the 1600s to be that modern day celebration. How? I am not sure. Yeah, but just something else I found. Because we looked up some similar topics, Pants and I did. We kind of just went with whatever we found interesting, but then we looked up very different things too. So just a couple overlap. So I'm just giving my input when
No, and I appreciate it because there's some details that I didn't have that you've like been able to have so far that have definitely intrigued me.
Yeah, I have more about this one too.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I just thought it reminded me of something you would like because of the music and the dancing, so I spent a little bit more time. So another thing that I thought was really cool is that when this started in the 1600s time frame, there were Christian missionaries going to Madagascar trying to like discourage this, but it persisted despite that. So it's just kind of interesting that obviously when you talk about the Catholic funeral, it's much more solemn celebration. And once you're buried, you're there. Like, you're in the ground. You do not disturb the grave. So this was a huge contrast to what these missionaries were trying to accomplish. So the fact that it still exists and it's still a culture after, 400
all this time.
Yeah, 400 years. I was like, math. And even though it is on a decline, and that's just because the production of silk, which is usually the shrouds that are used to, like you said, to cover the bodies, to get pure silk is getting harder and harder, and it's very important that it's pure silk. And that's really it. That's all the extra stuff I had from it. You covered everything else.
I didn't know about the silk part. That's fucking cool.
Well, I thought you said it.
No, I said death cloth. Like, they, redo, it was the burial cloth is what it was.
Yeah, and it was made of silk. It had to be pure silk, so. Yeah.
Have you ever heard of water burials?
I've heard of them, but I do not know anything I know a little bit about them based off of, like, movies and stuff.
Okay.
And we gave my cat one, actually, I just remembered.
Did you?
Yeah, I'll talk about that after. See if it's the same thing.
Okay. Well, this one, many cultures, especially like the Nordic countries, use water in their rituals for the dead. So, such rituals include laying coffins on top of cliffs, facing towards the water, and like leaving them there. And they even use water as a burial ground. So, they'll set the bodies adrift in a death ship or death ships, either along a river or set out into the ocean, giving the bodies back to the gods or places most valued by the people in that area.
Oh, giving the bodies back. Like, thank you. The soul has departed. This returns to you.
And if you've noticed, like, that's a common theme throughout all of this is, like, giving the body, the soul away or pushing the soul closer to heaven or their, you know, their rite of passage.
Yeah. Well, we didn't set my cat on fire. But my childhood cat, it wasn't a true water burial, but I wanted to. So we had this cat for 12 years. Her name was Kitty because I was 2 when I named her. And when she died, my dad had to like put her in a box. And so I made it look like a little boat. And I put flowers in there and straw and like made it look really pretty. And I asked my dad if we could take her to Mason's Pond and light her on fire and cast her out. And he said we could go to Mason's Pond and, like, sail her out, but we couldn't light her on fire. So we didn't light her on fire.
Oh, well, I mean, at least we light her on fire, but still.
Yeah. And I don't remember, like, obviously we didn't leave her there, but I don't know if we actually ever did that. I don't really remember, like, if we went through with it, but I remember, like, I did make her a little, like, boat with flowers and stuff in it.
Aww.
And I just knew about water burials, but I don't know how. But like I said, pop culture, because I feel like a Viking funeral.
Yeah, that's what I thought of, and like that's the same. Like when I said like Nordic cultures and stuff, like my mind went automatically there. But then it really
do they light them on fire?
It didn't say. They just said that they send them off on ships, off into the oceans or along the side of the river.
Okay.
Yeah. I know the Vikings do. I just know that not all the cultures do, so it's just more incorporating the water. Like, that was their version of a burial ground. Instead of, you know, having a cemetery, it's, you know, we're going to send them off on, like, I was going to say Ganges River. Any river.
Yeah. Where's the Ganges River?
That's in India.
Nice.
Not anywhere near Nordic area.
Well, I mean, maybe they were exploring and got sick.
Maybe. But speaking of India, that leads me into the next one I have, which is the parade, which is in Varanasi, India, and I might have butchered that name, so sorry out there. But there's a tradition that is involving parading of the dead through the streets, where the bodies are dressed in colors that highlight the virtues of the deceased. So, like, they would wear red for purity or yellow for knowledge. This is to encourage souls to reach salvation, ending the cycle of reincarnation. And then the bodies are sprinkled with water from the Ganges River and then cremated at the town's main crematorium.
Wow. The town's main crematorium?
Yep, like the town's main cremation ground or crematorium.
Do they probably take the cremains afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I thought that was cool. I like the representation of, like, the different colors and, like, meanings behind them. So, like, that was just a really pretty interpretation.
Yeah. And color is super symbolic. And that's one thing I love teaching art for, is the symbolism in color and how different traditions and cultures, color means something completely different depending on the culture that
also, like,
you
think
are
about the
in.
way the color makes you feel. You know, like, you see red, half the time you're going to more likely be angry. Or maybe in love, you know, things like that. You see green, you know, you normally interpret jealousy, or blue with sadness or calm. Like, it all invokes emotion.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Tower of Silence, though?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So, I'm also going to butcher this name, so God help me with this one. But it's a Zoroastrian tradition, where a body is believed to defile everything it touches, including the ground and fire.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. What? I'm gonna show. What? The body is said to defile everything it touches?
Yep,
wow.
Everything it touches, even fire. So raising a corpse to the sky for vultures to devour was historically the only option available.
Whoa.
So they would use bull's urine to clean
I'm so sorry. That was involuntary, even though I had to unmute my mic so you'd hear it.
Yeah. Bull's urine is used to clean the body and the tools, which are then destroyed afterwards.
That says a lot, that you use piss to clean something and then just discard it.
Yep.
Wow.
All because it touched a dead body. Only for cutting off the clothes of the deceased too, by the way. So they clean the tools, then they throw them away after using them because they touched a body. Then they place the corpse on top of a tower of silence, out of the way of the living who could be tainted by it.
This is an absolutely terrifying visual.
Yes, so like this one, when I got to it, it was like a flip side of like all the traditions we talked about so far is more about like celebrating or, you know, parading the body, cleaning the body, doing something to, you know, show value to even just the shell of what used to be. And this tradition's like, nah, it's tainted. This is soiled. This land's soiled. Like,
the episode title is not aforementioned title. Tower of Bodies, Death Rituals Across Time is the new title.
Yep.
So I'm going to write that down. But that is, wow.
Yeah, so that one kind of like threw me through like, okay, I can give you the flip side, showing that like not all traditions, like, you know, in their own way, they are celebrating the person, because I see them as looking at it as the soul has already left. This body is just a husk. So therefore, yes, it is tainted. Yes, it is, you know, the person that we loved and cared for is there no longer. So I can kind of see that aspect of it, and I could be wrong. That's just my interpretation.
I am not disagreeing with you, and it seems very evidently that like the soul has left, the body is a vessel. We don't care about the body. This just defiles. It's dead. That disconnection to death is so interesting to me because I have tattoos. Mm-hmm. And part of the reason, and this is kind of morbid, part of the reason is because I'm like, I want to be whatever age I am, hopefully old, and I want my arms when I'm in my casket to tell the story of my life and my legs. I'm going to wear shorts and a freaking, like, belly shirt. So you can see all my tattoos. I don't care if I'm 95. That's what I'm wearing.
Just be butt-ass naked in the casket, man. Like, just show them all.
Yeah. Just like I do think about that. Like, I think about, like, these... Like, my body, after I leave it, is going to just be left.
Yeah. I've said it all the time, dude. Every time, like, I get a tattoo or something, my body is my canvas and it's telling my story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've always thought about death after I die, wondering, you know, once my mom died, and I sat in that hospital room, I still, while we're talking about death, this will all connect, but I was sitting there, and it felt like the room felt different after she flatlined. It did. It felt different. But I didn't let go of her hand. I didn't move. Like, my dad was ready. He was like, let's go, let's go. I wasn't ready, but he was ready, and I just had to let go. You know, I had to. He was not wanting to stay there. He had more of the reaction like, she's gone, that's a body, I don't want to be in this room with this body, we need to go. He had more of the mindset as, what was this culture that you mentioned?
Zoroastrian. So it's Zoroa and then strain.
So that was more of like how my dad's mentality was in that moment, when mine was more like, this is still my mom. We need to think of, like, I was like, we can't leave her. Who's gonna take care of her? Like, if we leave, where is she going? Like, my brain couldn't understand, like, this is my mom. She can't walk now. She can't get up. She can't do anything. My brain was not saying she's dead. It was saying she's helpless. We need to make sure she's not violated or not even violated in a sexual way. I don't mean like that.
No. It's
but
just
like her being disrespected, treated like a body, not like a woman that was my mom.
Because your ancestral drive took over. Your ancestral drive was more like, okay, now it's our responsibility to take care of like the rest of the process.
Yeah, but I just find it really interesting that, you know, I can understand that feeling, like you said. And that is why multiple traditions exist, because people deal with death differently. I'm sorry, you said Zoro.
Yep, Zoroa and then Strain.
Nice. Monotheistic religion. But it's, by the way, ancient Persia is where this or monotheistic religion. So that's interesting. It's one of the world's oldest organized monotheistic religions.
Yeah, see, it got me with the name Tower of Silence.
Yeah, that's wow. And their single deity was, did you say this already? Who their god was? Ahura Mazda.
Okay.
Their religion basically emphasizes a moral path based on good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. The wise Lord, creator of all that is good, true, and pure. This is from history.com, by the way. That's really all I can skim, because it's talking about the Silk Road and some more stuff right now. But just key facts that I think is really interesting, because my brain wanted to visualize where this was on the map. I like to see. But yeah.
So I only have like 2 more on my list. The next one I have is the Ashes to Death beads, which is the South Korean tradition of turning the ashes of the deceased into beads. They can come in an array of colors, including pink, black, and turquoise, which I thought was kind of cool, kind of nifty.
Yeah.
And then often I found with their traditions, when it comes to the beads, they are either placed inside glass vases or even in like open dishes on like a side table as like a more of a decorative way to display a loved one instead of like a traditional urn.
Yeah.
Which, like, reading this one, I thought it was like a really kind of pretty cool way to be like, you know, imagine having a side dish that just has like some, like, I'm going to say marbles in it, and your friends just come over and start playing with the marbles on the side dish. Be like, that's my mom or that's my dad, dude. Like, you're just literally was waiting for the right time to make that joke. Because when you said glass jar and they're just like out and about, like I imagined becoming deceased, right? And then coming back to haunt my loved ones, because obviously, right? If there's ghosts, I will be one, 100%. Hopefully, it's fun. I don't want to be one if it's not fun. I just want to be one if it is fun. And if I were to see that I became a potentially spillable bowl of marbles, I don't know how I would feel. I guess maybe the prospect of spilling all over the floor and causing somebody to like have to run like in the cartoons would be kind of hilarious. So it's beautiful to have your loved ones close to you like that. Like, there is something very beautiful about that. It is. And I could just imagine like having like my dad in one of those, and like somebody coming by and just like fucking around with the marbles and being like, "You're holding my dad's balls, man."
Yeah. Stop. Oh my god. Grow up.
I know. But all jokes aside, I do think it is a very beautiful way for people to celebrate traditional, their own way of doing different than our traditional urns.
Yeah, and also, because I did come across this one as well. Something to note, the reason that practice started was because they're running out of spaces for cemeteries. And so, due to the massive growth in population and the limited space, that is a way to, one, save on plot costs because the land to bury is very expensive because it is highly coveted. And I don't even know how possible it is if you don't have one, like, handed down to you. So that's another reason why. So when you don't have an option, like, maybe you can't afford a plot, but you can afford to get your loved one in this beautiful decorative, like, vase full of marbles, I mean, that's an awesome option, truthfully. So, and, like, whoever came up with that,
So
like,
creative.
I also have a confession to make. I have a glass fusing kiln, and I have my mom's ashes. And we are going, and this is another reason we're also having this episode. We are currently, my dad and I, are planning my mom's funeral after 6 years of her being dead, because we are like a different culture that I will talk about after Sam. So maybe I'll just save this, but long story short, it's been 6 years that we have not been able to do it. We have not been able to part with her cremains. And I think the idea of her not being in the same space as me or as them freaks us out, and it's like the final goodbye. And because funerals have always felt final to me. So this idea that, like, the dancing, you said from Madagascar, right? The dancing where it's like this recurring thing, it makes it not final, and it gets rid of that dread that, honestly, the last 6 years, feeling like we haven't honored her, and we haven't done the sacred duty of giving her what she deserves, a final resting place, and a ceremony drenched in ancient tradition to honor everything she was, you know? So that's another reason we're doing this, because looking up different traditions of funerals around the world has made me realize how important it is to make sure my mom is put into fireworks and sent off, and also I'm going to make a necklace of fused glass with her ashes in it. Because I am legally allowed to do that.
That's
looked
beautiful,
it up.
man.
Yeah, so that's the long story of that rant. You were talking about marbles and glass and ashes, and I'm like...
Well, it's ironic, too, because when I was reading that story, I immediately thought about you and your mom, and I was going to be like, oh, man, if she didn't know about this, it's going to blow her mind. She's going to want to do this.
Yeah. My dad is getting into glass fusing, too, and I told him that idea, and he was quiet for a second. But he was pondering, so I know it's a very, like, macabre, morbid
Really, though, because if you think about it, like, people wear ashes around their neck, you know, or in rings and things of that nature, so it's the same equivalency.
Yeah, and I'm sealing it within fused glass. What I would really like to do is, like, this is so off topic, but also it's not really off topic, because this is a funeral practice, funeral tradition, a burial tradition, if you will. Can you even see me anymore? It's dark in here.
It's all black.
I'll turn a light on 1 sec. I want to try to draw her portrait with the ashes.
Yeah.
So that when it burns, you are left with, like, you remember the Jesus on the toast? Mm-hmm. I want a Jesus on the toast moment of my mom's face, of her own ashes, fused in glass, that I wear around my neck. So when people are like, wow, that's really cool, what's that? And I say, oh, that's my mom's ashes that I painted into a portrait of her face and fused into glass. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, no, dude. Yes, that needs to happen.
Yeah, I don't know if it ever will, but her ashes will at least be fused into glass. I don't know how easy it is to draw with cremains of animal or human. If you have any sort of background in that art, please reach out. I would love to know. Thank you. Okay, that's my rant, but it's relevant, so...
Yeah, no, it is, 100%. But the last little bit that I have is a few different places in the Philippines that are different, like, Filipino traditions. So we have, like, the Tingwan people. They dress the deceased in the fairest of clothes and sit the body on a chair, often placing a lit cigarette in their mouth, which I thought was kind of cool. Then you got the Birgit people, which blindfold...
Sorry, that made me think of Mimi. I literally wanted to say, okay, Mimi.
Dude, literally her being like, you're gonna, taxidermy me and just put me on the couch. Like, alright. So, you got the Birgit people that blindfold their dead before placing them in chairs at the entrance of the home, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Why do they place blindfolds?
I didn't dive into it.
Is it so that they don't pull you into the after?
I feel like it has something to do with that.
I'm gonna look it up. We can do a part 2. We can actually just save my stories for a part 2, honestly, because these are great. If you want. Because, I mean, yeah, we'll see how long this runs, but I'm loving it. Like, this was... I think these are cool.
I kind of want to dive more in depth on these, too. I just wasn't sure how in depth I wanted to go for this episode.
Yeah. What are the name of these people?
Benguet. Benguet.
Nice. Okay, keep going. I'll find out.
Then you got the Chiboni people who dress children that are attending the funeral in red to lessen the chance that they will see ghosts.
You want to know why they're blindfolded? And this is from thelivingurn.com. They place them blindfolds over their eyes so that they don't see the pain, grief, and suffering of those that they love. I want to... That, like... Wow.
Yeah.
Something about that. The blindfold ensures the spirit transitions peacefully without being burdened or distressed by the sorrow left behind. Wow.
That's heavy.
Yeah. So. Wow.
The next half for the Filipino traditions is the Sagda region, which often features coffins that are hung from cliffs, bringing the souls closer to heaven. Very similar to, like, the sky burial.
Wow.
Yeah. And then the last little fun fact is people in Savit often entomb the deceased vertically in a hollowed out tree, often chosen by the person before death.
That is so awesome to me for some reason. Like, we get to go on a walk, right?
Yep.
And I get to look at a tree and I get to say, that's the tree. That's my death tree right there. I want that one to hold me.
I really
in
like
my death.
That. Like that, I thought, and what a beautiful way to, like, not only, like, give back to the earth as well. Like, your body is going to be incorporated into that soil, that tree base. Like,
yeah.
That was the last fun fact I had.
Do they let the body, like, become one with the tree? Like, it decays and decomposes?
It's in a hollowed out tree, so I'm assuming that the tree's probably already dead. But either way, you do get to decompose with the tree and then back into the ground and things of that nature. And then there is growth from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make cards. I'm going to make cards with little illustrations and the name of, like, the culture and the practice and just little, I want to do some designing because these stories are giving me these visuals in my head, and they all are like old vintage storybook kind of things. And I think they'd make a beautiful set of just, like, cards that you could just set out on the table and learn.
Yeah.
Like, not at a funeral, but, like, just fun, beautiful facts. I don't know. I'm thinking. My noggin is working. You've inspired me.
I'm imagining, like, tarot cards, but, like, tarot cards with, like, different...
Yeah. but like not even fairy tale. I can't even describe it, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I've been inspired, and that's nice because I need more graphic design stuff to work on. So, well, to practice for. I need to practice so that I'm constantly using the most up-to-date technology so that I can
100%,
teach my students. And then I also can create cool art that you guys listening can see first on Patreon. Look at that. By the time the Patreon launches, I will have these cards done, and I will figure out... It's not going to be like a whole deck. I'm not even sure. I'll tell you. I'll figure it out. That's what I'm saying. This is literally live happening thought process here. But beautiful, man. I think you taught me a lot today, and I love that you related it to yourself first and how that brought you here. And you inspired me too, because it was when your great-grandmother passed away, it got me thinking about funerals, and it got me thinking about my mom and how I have her cremains in my dining room, and I talk to them every day, and how I brought it up to my dad, how we need to get a move on with this, and how my dad called the cemetery last week, and how he found out that his grandparents, Glenn and Della, who lost baby Norman on the farm, when baby Norman died, they bought a bunch of plots up at the cemetery to bury their baby, and also to make sure that future generations had a place to be buried. And now, the plot that they bought, I'm gonna cry, is where my mom is gonna be buried. And I'm just like, all because, not because, but like, because we are friends and because you were experiencing loss. It was like this butterfly effect, which now led us to this episode,
Well, dude, if you notice with anything in our life, whether it's the good or the bad that we're going through, it's always something completely different, but on the same track of each other. So whether it's you're going through something really big and heavy in your life, and I'm also going through something. And when it's really good for both of us. And I'm just honored and happy to be here with you and for you through this, because I know it's not easy. It'll never be easy. But I know that you will show your mother the honor that she deserves. I mean, you show her it every day.
I try.
You do.
It's helpful to have a friend like you and to be able to do this and to learn and to recognize that grief is universal and loss is universal. And it's important to have friends that when you are going through something, you can lean on. And you took the sad loss of your great-grandmother and you got, you took all of the grief and you made it this beautiful connection with your family. You took the heirlooms and you taught us about crazy things that happen in Maryland. Everything that has transpired on this podcast in the past month has been a direct result of our lives, and that's what we always wanted. We want this to be organic, and we want people who listen to recognize that we're humans, and we want to share cool, creepy, crazy stories because we go through things, and because we all experience grief and sorrow and fear and sadness, and talking about tragedies and family connections make you more vigilant, make you more mindful, and also talking about funerals makes you more grateful to be alive. So that's why we talk about sad shit. And you showed the beauty of the sadness. So I learned a lot. Those are my final thoughts, man.
That was very beautifully said, man. And I'm glad I could, educate you and teach you some things. I taught myself some things, and hopefully the listeners as well. Fam, talking to you out there, hopefully we got your minds thinking a little bit, and if you guys want to share anything with us, or if you have anything to add, if anybody's listening in India or South Korea or Philippines, or even in the States that happen to know these traditions because it's your culture, please let us know. Give us any more details.
We will do a part 2 next week with my stories, and I have some crazy stuff. There's some current events as well that I can dig into more. So between now and next, let's say Friday, if you send us a message, an email, whatever the case may be, Who Are You podcast, and then That's really on all social media. But then our email, you can find it in the show notes. It's wrupodcast@gmail.com. So if you send it to us before Friday, we will include your story in the episode. So,
with that being said, never stop asking yourself, who are
who are you?